By a show of hands, how many people have ever been to the Great Wolf Lodge? Yes, I'm noticing some giggling as people are sheepishly raising their hands. For those unfamiliar, the Great Wolf Lodge is a huge indoor water park where you are guaranteed family memories, fun and overpriced attractions, and swarms of young children which offer the opportunity to come in contact with just about every germ possible. Well, last February, Becca, Mayor, Gavi, Eliana, and I went on a short vacation to the Great Wolf Lodge in Maryland. We had a wonderful time there, but there was only one problem. I have really bad vision. Without my glasses, I can't see much at all, and I obviously could not wear my glasses in the swimming pools or on the water slides. And I so infrequently wear contacts that I forgot to check for a fresh pair before leaving for the trip. Packing the day before, I realized I had no contacts to bring. Without contacts and without glasses, I didn't quite know how to safely maneuver the water park with my kids. I told them my predicament, explaining, maybe it's best if I don't go on the slides with you. And then Mayor looked at me and said, "Daddy, you don't need to be able to see where you are going." That was an interesting start. But then he continued, "We see you and we will keep you safe." And they held my hand and guided me for hours as we moved around the park, including getting me onto slides, which if I could actually have seen, I would have never gone on. We see you. What is a moment in your life when you felt seen and loved? What about when you helped someone feel that way? Seeing deeply is a holy act. Our Torah readings for Rosh Hashanah stress this lesson. This morning we read the story of Akedat Yitzchak, the binding of Isaac. As Abraham follows God's instructions and heads to a mountain that God will show him, we read in the text, Vayisa Avraham et einav, vayar et hamakom merachok. Abraham looked up and saw the place from afar. In a moment of being tested, Abraham lifts up his eyes and sees. Shortly thereafter, almost in a trance, he finds himself about to sacrifice Isaac when an angel stops him by yelling, "Avraham, Avraham." And then the angel helps him to see the true sacrifice. Vayisa Avraham et einav, vayar v'hinei ayil echad. Abraham lifted up his eyes and he saw a ram in the thicket. The angel helps Abraham see what is right in front of him, that which he was unable to see in his moment of struggle. Similarly, in our Torah reading yesterday, Hagar was aided with her vision as well. Having run out of water in the wilderness with her young son Ishmael, Hagar is resigned to the fact that her infant son will die. Unable to watch, to see, she places him at a distance away and begins to cry. In that moment, we read, Vayivkach Elohim et eineha, vatera be'er mayim. God opened her eyes and she sees a well of water in front of her. In Judaism, to see is to recognize, to acknowledge, to awaken to the moment. And this is also the message of the shofar, which we hear today. The shofar cries out, "Wake up, open your eyes, look, see." No, really, see, understand. See with purpose and compassion. Tikiyah, let yourself be seen. Shvarim, let yourself be seen by God. Teruah, hear the cries of others. See their faces. Open your eyes and see. see what the other may not see in themselves. What do we see today as we look out at the new year of 5786? I certainly see a new year of possibility, a new year of hope, buoyed by the love of family and our TBS community. I see the possibility of a better year ahead, led by our Jewish values and care for one another. But I also see a fractured world with increasing divisiveness, mistrust, hatred, and anti-Semitism. Misinformation abounds. Our country is severely divided. Democracy is in peril. Gun violence plagues our nation. Innocent people are being detained and arrested in the streets. Racism, homophobia, transphobia, and xenophobia are becoming normalized. Science and medicine have been ostracized and curtailed, and we are becoming more and more polarized. If I don't agree with you, then I must be wrong. If I hold a different position, then I must be the enemy. I wonder why it is so difficult for many to say, on the one hand, I will always stand with Israel, and at the same time, my heart goes out for the innocent people starving in Gaza. We can love the United States, we can love Israel, but that does not mean that we have to always love or agree with its leaders and governments. How did we get here? A world of black and white, a world of us versus them. It's a complicated question, but fundamentally, I think it's a failure of sight, a malfunction in understanding. Our world needs an ophthalmologist. Anyone know a good one? Yeah, there's a lot of them here. We need a healer of vision who can restore our ability to see the humanity in others. We need to be able to see the other as human, and it begins with the face. The Hebrew month leading up to Rosh Hashanah is Elul. The Zohar sees Elul as an acronym to teach an important lesson, explaining that we begin the month Achor el Achor, back to back with God. Through the work of tshuva, we hope that by the time we end the month, we begin the new year. Today, we find ourselves panim el panim, face to face with God. The work of the season is focused on turning so that we can be face to face with God, with others, and with ourselves. Panim el panim, with our shortcomings and our successes. Face to face with that which holds us back and with that which propels us forward. Face to face with those who support us and with those who challenge us. Panim el panim, seeing deeply. Furthermore, in Psalm 27, which we recite every day of Elul and through the High Holy Day season, we say, Lecha amar libi, bakshu fanai et panecha, Adonai avakesh. My heart says, seek my face, your face, O God, I will seek. Did you hear that repeated word? Panim, face. And in Hebrew, panim also means innerness. To seek God's face is to seek God's presence, the essence of God's compassion. And our tradition teaches that one important way that we find God is by looking into the faces of other human beings. Bakshu fanayat panecha. The High Holy Days are a search for faces. Yes, to see and be in the presence of loved ones and friends, but even more, to open our eyes to see the faces that surround us, and in doing so, to see the humanity in one another. Bakshu fanai et panecha. Seek my face. A story. About 12 years ago, while I was a student chaplain at Mount Sinai Hospital in Manhattan, I met Betty. She was in hospice care, and I visited her for the last few days of her life. By the time I met her, she was no longer communicative. As I walked into her hospital room, she was surrounded by her son and daughter, and they were playing a song, Suddenly Seymour, from the Little Shop of Horrors. They told me that the song was particularly special to their mother, as it was the song that she sang to both of them at bedtime as young children during a difficult period for the family. The song she used to comfort them, they were now using to comfort her. For the next few days, when I came to visit Betty, her children used it as an opportunity to take a breath and to go grab a bite to eat. So I sat with her, just the two of us. She mostly slept, but then each visit I would pull out my phone and play Suddenly Seymour. I even found myself compelled to sing softly. Lift up your head now, wash off your mascara. Here, take my Kleenex, wipe that lipstick away. Show me your face, clean as the morning. I know things were bad, but now they're okay. Lift up your head. Show me your face. As if she were taking instruction from the song, for just a few moments, Betty would open her eyes, look directly into mine, and a faint smile would appear on her face. Then her eyes closed, and she was asleep once more. Both the song and Betty's face will forever be seared into my memory. You see, the human face is unlike any other part of creation. Think about it. Our hands can be hidden. Our words can be guarded. Our actions can be disguised. But the face, our eyes, our expressions reveal truth. To see the face of another is to see into their soul. A gift that Betty gave me in her final days. Bakshu fanaya panecha, seek my face. We learn in the Talmud that a person's face reflects the Tselem Elohim, the image of God. Philosopher Emmanuel Levinas suggested that the face of the other makes an ethical demand. When we truly look into someone's face, we cannot ignore their humanity. We are responsible for them. Think about that. Every face we see carries a moral claim on us. As we sit here today reflecting on the year that just ended and the new year that's now beginning, what faces are you seeing? What faces surround you today, both in the pews and in your hearts? Faces that reflect love, affection, and deep relationships. And perhaps other faces that reflect pain, heartbreak, and challenge. The Hebrew word for face is itself instructive. Panim, face. It's a word in Hebrew that's always in the plural. Our sages noticed this and taught that it hints at the many dimensions of the human being. Each of us wears not one face, but many. The face we show in joy, the face we carry in sorrow, the face turned towards family, the face turned towards strangers. No single expression can capture the fullness of who we are. But panim in the plural also suggests that sometimes our faces are hidden. We turn away, we cover ourselves, or we shield parts of our truth from others, and even from ourselves. Psalm 27 reflects this reality. Continuing on the theme of faces, the psalmist cries out, Al taster panecha mimeni. Please do not hide your face from me. We hide our face all the time. Sometimes to protect ourselves, sometimes in embarrassment, sometimes in dishonesty to others and ourselves. Al taster panecha mimeni. Our faces are hidden. How many of you have seen Wicked? Wicked is all about the hiding of the face. Glinda masks her insecurities and hides her true compassion behind the faces of popularity and perfection. The wizard literally hides his face behind a curtain. He can only see himself, blind to the reality of others. And Elphaba fights to not hide her face, despite the pressures to do so, because of her differences, most notably her green skin. The characters hide their faces as a compromise between them and society, making it possible for them to live in their world. But the hidden self is a danger when it is mistaken for the true self, for it is then that authenticity is lost. The themes of prejudice, scapegoating, and resistance to injustice, represented by Elphaba's greenness, resonate deeply with Jewish history and culture. What is true for individuals is also true for the larger group. Only there we call the hidden face a label. We label the liberal, the conservative, the right, the left, friend, foe, right, wrong, good versus bad. We see a political bumper sticker and decide everything about the people in the car. We see someone's clothing, accent, or last name and make assumptions. We define people by their green skin, their visible differences, and surface impressions. And because of labels and social pressures, the truth is we are all hiding our faces in one way or another today. Perhaps behind the facade of I'm fine when we're not fine, or the disguise of control when inside we feel fragile. The facade of being put together even though the world around us feels broken. The disguise of success to hide our insecurities. The facade of cynicism to hide our disappointments. The disguise of busyness to avoid stillness. The facade of a smile to cover our pain. Al taster panecha mimeni. In what ways are we hiding? My youngest, Eliana, loves to play hide and seek. It's adorable. She's still at an age when her definition of hiding is throwing a blanket over her head and then standing there in plain sight. Where could Eliana be? I ask as she laughs. The other day, she asked to play hide and seek and wanted me to hide first. So I went and hid in a different room. A few minutes passed. Nothing. A couple minutes more. Nothing. I didn't hear her normal giggling as she looked for me. So I went to see what was going on and found her playing at the kitchen table. She was playing with Play-Doh. What happened, Eliana? I thought we were playing hide and seek. Daddy, I found Play-Doh. It turns out I was hiding, but she was definitely not seeking. Not for me, at least. And it seems there is a lot of hiding and not enough seeking in our world today. We have to open our eyes, find the faces that surround us, but that we all too often fail to see. We scroll past faces on screens. We glance but do not gaze. We prefer texting over face-to-face conversations. We see the facades of others and mistake them for who they truly are. And friends, this is a problem. Because the fact of the matter is, when we don't see faces, we lose empathy. We forget that the person who votes differently or who struggles differently or who looks different is a full human being with a divine spark within. Today, Rosh Hashanah, the birthday of the world, today must be a day of seeking, a day of seeing, a day of encounter. Bakshu fanai et panecha, seek my face. But here's the catch. To truly see another person's face, one must first be willing to see one's own. That is not as simple as looking in a mirror. It requires an act of courage and honesty. Are we in our world today capable of that? Or have we lost the ability to recognize ourselves in the faces of others? Too often we choose only the fragments of ourselves that are easy to love, the pieces we curate for others to admire. And in doing so, we turn away from the darker corners of our own souls, the insecurity, the anger, the fear, the jealousy that inevitably live within us. When we refuse to acknowledge those pieces in ourselves, they don't disappear. Instead, we project them outward, placing them on the faces of others. The stranger becomes threatening, the neighbor becomes untrustworthy, the opponent becomes detestable, not because of who they truly are, but because of what we refuse to see in ourselves. To see the face of another, then, is to accept the fullness of humanity, our own and theirs. It's to recognize that each face carries light and shadow, goodness and flaw, brokenness and beauty. And when we allow ourselves to meet another's gaze with that awareness, something sacred happens. The boundaries between self and other blur. And in the place of judgment and fear, compassion can take root. The real challenge is whether we are willing to do the work of seeing it all, the good, the bad, the ugly, and the beautiful, and still affirm, this too is the face of God. I see you. An example. Dylan Marin is a gay man and a digital content creator whose work has centered around progressive, pro-LGBTQ content. Not surprisingly, as happens in the online world, from early on, Dylan was bombarded with hateful and often homophobic messages online. Contrary to what might be expected, Dylan did something unusual. He reached out to some of the people who sent him hateful messages and invited them to have a conversation to get to know each other. He recorded the interactions for a podcast series called Conversations with People Who Hate Me, realizing that the people who cheered on his videos already agreed with him. He discussed how important it was to actually speak to people he disagreed with rather than simply at them. At the same time, opening himself up to a person who had said something hurtful or homophobic was scary. To help him enter into the conversations, Dylan developed a mantra for himself. Empathy is not an endorsement. Empathy is not an endorsement. We can substitute empathy with other words as well. Listening is not an endorsement. Dialogue is not an endorsement. Presence is not an endorsement. What might be possible if we took on these mantras? How might they enable us to see the humanity in others and help bridge our polarized world? We don't have to agree or even condone in order to see another's humanity and expand our universe of care and concern. To look someone in the eyes, panim el panim, with respect and curiosity, seeking not to belittle or dismiss, but to reveal our common humanity. Perhaps it sounds obvious, but given our current position, achor el achor, back to back, it feels like we have to defy the gravitational pull of the moment. Speaking of defying gravity, back to the movie Wicked. Towards the end of the first movie, Elphaba begins to realize that the true danger isn't only in the corrupt leaders of Oz, but also in the way ordinary people have turned against one another, fearful, suspicious, quick to condemn. She sees how easily neighbors betray neighbors, how prejudice spreads faster than truth, and how silence allows cruelty to deepen. In that moment, she cannot simply follow along or hope that others will find their courage. She must rise above the hatred and despair, quite literally defy gravity, and claim her own power. Choosing to lift herself beyond the pull of fear, she decides that her voice, her vision, and her resistance will not be bound by the limits that others try to impose. And so she sings these words, which I hope you'll hear now as both an intention and a prayer.
Something has changed within me. Something is not the same. I'm through with playing by the rules of someone else's game. Too late for second guessing. Too late to go back to sleep. It's time to trust my instincts. Close my eyes and leap. It's time to try defying gravity. I think I'll try defying gravity, and you can't pull me down. So if you care to find me, look to the western sky. As someone told me lately, everyone deserves the chance to fly. And if I'm flying solo, at least I'm flying free. To those who'd ground me, take a message back from me. Tell them how I am defying gravity. I'm flying high, defying gravity, and soon I'll match them in renown. And nobody in all of Oz, no wizard that there is or was, is ever gonna bring me down.
Friends, it's time to try defying gravity. That's tshuva. That's Rosh Hashanah. That is the work we are called to today. We all feel the gravity, the pull downward into the mindset of right versus wrong, us versus them, the gravitational pull of judgment, fear, and external pressures. It's tempting to stay on the surface, to judge others while hiding our own faces. But Rosh Hashanah asks us to look deeper. Al taster panecha mimeni. Don't hide your face from me. Rather, look into the faces of loved ones and friends, of neighbors, and yes, those we disagree with, and say, I see your pain. I see your hope. I see your humanity. I see the image of God in you. Bakshu fanayat panecha. I see you. And then to look in the mirror and say those same words to ourselves. In this year of 5786, may we choose to defy gravity by looking up and looking within and seeing in all of humanity the face of God. Shana Tova.